Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I really didn't know the answer to this, but now I do. So, if you've been following me, you know I tested positive for COVID. I'm finally back in Canada. I have to continue a quarantine period here, even though I was deemed non-infectious from the Netherlands and I was allowed to fly back to Canada. Canada requires me to continue my thing for another 9 days here. So I'm locked in my house for 9 more days. Okay. But now I have a cruise coming up in 5 more weeks. And you can test positive in an antigen test or a PCR test up to 3 months after you have had COVID. But you have to have that negative test to get on board. Yes, you do. But there is a workaround that will allow you to get on the cruise ships. Cruise lines now have what's called the proof of recovery, where you are allowed to sail even though if you test positive, as long as you go there and don't have any signs or symptoms. So if you go there and you're running a big fever and you're sneezing and you're coughing, they're not going to let you on the cruise ship, no matter what your documentation says. However, if you go there and you go, hi, yeah, I tested positive, but that's a while back, and here's my documentation of recovery, you'll be allowed on the cruise ship. But there's a procedure you have to follow. Every country has their own little thing, so let's talk about North America for now. In general, I'm going to talk about the United States. In the United States, you have to quarantine and are officially considered recovered from COVID and immune from COVID for 90 days after you test positive for 10 days. You have to quarantine for 10 days. So if you test positive on the 1st, that means on the 11th, you are considered immune and recovered. You don't have to quarantine. You're allowed out without a mask. You're allowed to do whatever you want. You're allowed to travel. But you can't just show up and say, yeah, I tested positive on the 1st. It's the 15th. I'm good to go, right? No. There are some documentation you need. First of all, you need that document that you tested positive and the date that you tested positive. You have to have that documentation in hand showing the exact date you tested positive. And it has to be within 3 months of that period. So if you test positive in June and you go in November, that document is no longer valid. You still need to test negative. It's only for the first 90 days after you test positive. So for me, I'm sailing in 5 weeks. It's still within the 90 days. I am considered recovered. I have to wait for my testing period here in Canada. I have to wait till I believe it's the 14th. On the 14th, I'm allowed to apply for my document of recovery, which you can just go online and Google in your own country, COVID-19 document of recovery. And there are various places that you just go online. Here in Canada, it was $75. I saw in the United States, it was around $50, $56. And you have to wait till after that 10 days though. Wait for your recovery period, your quarantine period to be over, and then you can send in and apply. All it is you fill out the forms that they ask you, your date of birth, your blah, 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 all your history, and then you send them a copy of that test that you had that shows the date and that you tested positive, and it's an official document. It can't just be, it has to be a picture of that. It can't just be an email saying you tested positive on that date. It has to be the document itself. Then you send it to them. They review it by a certified physician, and they certify that you have been recovered from COVID and could test positive for up to 90 days. They send you that document, and those are the 2 documents you need to travel with. The original test that that tested positive. I've already got a picture of that test on my phone, and I have a picture of it on my computer, and I have the original test document in my travel documents where I keep my passport and everything all ready to go for my trip. Now when I apply and I send for my document of recovery, it's going in the exact same place. I'm going to take that picture, I'm going to put it on my computer, I'm going to put it in my phone, and then when I travel, I have both documents that I need to go on the cruise. Now, does this mean you should not take your negative test? No. I am still going to go and apply and take my negative test before my next cruise because it's so much simpler. It's $40, $50. Okay, I'm going to take that test. If I test negative, then there's no questions asked when I get to the airport. There's no questions asked when I get to the cruise terminal. Here's my proof, my negative test. Here's my vaccination. I'm out of here on the cruise. I'm enjoying myself. If I got to the cruise terminal and all I have is this positive test or no test, then I have to go to another line and I have to show them my proof. They have to assess you. They have to look you over. They have to approve you. So in my recommendation, because that's what I'm going to do, take that test anyway and hope that you get that negative test. And if you get the negative test, it's so much easier. But don't forget your other document, just in case. Because if they happen to be on the cruise ship and they come by and somebody is a close contact with you and they test you and then suddenly you show positive again, you have that document to say, no, look, I've recovered. Doesn't matter. The only reason I tested positive is because I have had it before. And then you wouldn't have to quarantine again. Wow, right? Keep both documents and take the test just to be safe. That's what I'm going to do. I'll fill out that form and everything and I'll show everybody when I do it, but I have to wait till around the 14th of the month. I'm missing a cruise right now because it's the 14th. Had it been the 10th, I could have flew off and took the second part of the group cruise and that I'm missing right now, but no, it's the 14th. And like I said, timing couldn't have been worse for me catching COVID. 14 cruises, never catch COVID. The one time I really don't want to catch it, that's the time I'm gonna catch it. Sigh. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation. And don't forget all the documentation you absolutely need these days to travel. Don't leave anything behind.